The things they see. I've spent years collecting these stories. Tales of a child's world. A world we often dismiss as pure imagination, where a crayon drawing is just a scribble and the late-night cry is just a bad dream. But sometimes those scribbles and fears are something else entirely. Today, I want to share 3 stories that were sent to me, each one proving that what we can't see, a child just might. The Man in the Mirror. This first story comes from a woman named Chloe. Back in 2018, her 8-year-old son, Noah, started acting strangely. He was a bright kid, but he became obsessed with covering every reflective surface in the house. The bathroom mirror, the television screen, even the shiny toaster in the kitchen. He draped them all with old blankets and towels. When Chloe asked him why, he'd get this terrified look in his eyes. He'd say, "The man in the mirror doesn't like it when I look at him." This went on for a few weeks. One day, Chloe found one of his drawings while folding laundry. It was a picture of their family in the living room, but in the large, empty space where their full-length mirror used to be, there was a tall, gaunt figure drawn in thick black crayon. Its arms were stretched long, and its head was tilted at an unnatural angle, as if it were looking down at something. Chloe was creeped out, but she assumed it was a phase. But one morning, she woke up to Noah's blood-curdling screams. She ran into his room and found him huddled in the corner, pointing a shaking finger at his bedroom window. The glass was covered in a thick layer of condensation, but someone had drawn a single, unnervingly detailed eye on it from the outside. Chloe's blood ran cold. The eye was staring directly into her son's room. She asked Noah, "Who did this?" He just stared at the drawing, his face a mask of pure terror. Finally, in a small voice, he whispered, he said he'd be watching from outside now. He's tired of being in the mirror. The Toy Soldier. Our next story was submitted by a man named Mark about his younger sister, Lily, in 2015. Lily, who had just turned 6, had a habit of talking to her toys. Mark didn't think much of it until he noticed she was always talking to a specific toy soldier, one with a blank, featureless face. Lily's conversations with the soldier became more and more frequent. One night, Mark was trying to read in his room and heard Lily's muffled voice next door. He could make out one side of the conversation. Lily was whispering, "He says we have to make the bad man go away." Mark thought it was just a game. The next morning, his dad found a small, precise incision on his car tire. He dismissed it as vandalism and fixed it. A week later, all 4 of his tires had been punctured, and a strange silver button was left on the driver's seat. Mark's dad confronted Lily, but she just gave him a blank stare. Then, she walked over to her toy box, pulled out the toy soldier, and said, "He told me to give you this. It's from his jacket." Mark's father's skin crawled. He went back to the car, and on the dashboard was another drawing from Lily. It was a picture of a full-sized man in a faded military uniform, holding a sewing needle. The man's face was a blank white oval, just like the toy. The parents realized the toy was something more. They threw it away, and the incident stopped. But every so often, Mark's dad would find a small, oddly shaped tear in a shirt or jacket, as if it had been pricked by a needle. The guest list. This final tale is the most recent, sent to me by a frantic mother just last year. Her 5-year-old daughter, Amelia, was always a sweet, cheerful kid. But she started talking about an imaginary friend named Barnaby, who lived in the basement. The mother, Sarah, thought it was cute. Then, Amelia began to bring her drawings of their family dinners. At the bottom of each one was a list written in crayon. The first simply said, Dad, Mom, me, Barnaby. The second drawing, a few days later, showed a new, smaller figure standing behind Barnaby. The guest list read, Dad, Mom, me, Barnaby, his friend. The third had an even longer list. Dad, Mom, me, Barnaby, his friend, a new girl. The picture now had 3 figures in the corner. Sarah was starting to feel a chill. She asked Amelia, Honey, are these your friends from school? Amelia shook her head. No, she said. They're just people who come when Barnaby invites them. The final straw came when Sarah's husband went down to the basement to clean out some old boxes. He found a piece of paper tucked into a cobwebbed corner. It was another of Amelia's drawings. It was a picture of the basement, but no people were on it. The list was chillingly short. Me, Barnaby, and you. The family moved out 2 weeks later. Sarah told me that her daughter never spoke about her imaginary friends again. But every time they drove past their old house, Amelia would wave at the basement window, her small hand pressed against the glass. We spend our lives building walls to keep the outside out, believing we're safe. But what happens when the thing you're afraid of has already been invited in?